if you break up with your girlfriend, like you're like super sad and you're like crying in the rain and you're like so sad that you like, like eat a burrito because you're so sad. You just like eat your emotions away, and then you're like, what's gonna make me less sad? I could go to Tokyo and go into the street into Shibuya, and go back to school and like earn a ton of money and gain a lot of power. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. This is Double V here with a video tutorial on 3 free plugins you can use immediately to enhance your lo-fi music making experience. So the reason why I decided to make these tutorials is that when I first started making music, I found these YouTube tutorials to be extremely helpful, and now that I know how to make music a little bit more than when I first started, I feel like I should give back to the community and hopefully get some feedback, get a conversation going, and we can all share our tips and tricks to each other. I feel like when people start making any sort of art, really, in the beginning, we have this beautiful image of whatever that we want to create inside of our mind, but we just don't have the resources, or we just don't have the capabilities to make it happen in the real world. And it's like very, very frustrating in the beginning, and that's part of the reason why a lot of people give up. And I want to help you with that as much as I can. Alright, so the first plugin is called iZotope Vinyl. What this plugin does is that it gives a little bit of a analog, lo-fi vibe through your sound. We don't really have, as bedroom producers on our cheap-ass laptops, we don't really have, like crazy, like super expensive analog tools to make our music. So this is like kind of like the next best thing we can do. iZotope, they make a lot of very good plugins. A lot of them are fairly expensive. Thankfully, this one is for free. So I advise you to check out their website and check out whatever else that they have on offer. So the way this plugin works is that it's going to take your signal and you'll be able to pitch bend it with the warp settings right here. I will show you here. So here, this is a dry signal. Very boring. Okay. It basically what this is, if you're curious, it's just like a sawtooth with a little bit of reverb. All right. So here it is. And then if I increase this, it's going to bend the pitch according to this graph right here. Now the pitch is doing, and if I have like, this, the pitch is going to go, and you can adjust the speed of this wave right here with the RPM. So if I put a higher RPM, it's going to go instead of like you can play with these knobs with these faders as much as you want, and into achieving the perfect pitch bend that you want. These settings right here are really what makes kind of your sound more analog. You can add a little bit of a mechanical noise. It's very subtle, but I crank it up to the max. You can kind of hear it here. This, electrical noise too, to make it sound like you're like in a horror movie or whatever. Usually I wouldn't crank out these like that high but I'm doing this so that I can like show you guys what all of these things do. The scratch and the dust. This is kind of like a vinyl. It kind of simulates a vinyl, but for my vinyl sounds, I would prefer to use samples or this next plugin I'm going to showcase to you guys. All right, so this is what it is. You can also adjust like the period, how much degraded or how old-timey do you want your signal to be. If you put this in the 2000s versus 1930, this kind of sounds like an old gramophone. Anyways, so here we go. This is the first plugin, iZotope Vinyl. Alright, so the next plugin is also called Vinyl. As you can see here, this is a vinyl simulator. Just like I mentioned before, most of us are just on our cheap-ass laptops in our bedrooms or dorm rooms. We don't really have access to like a vinyl player. And even if we do, like even if you're like super rich, like the daughter of like Bill Gates or something, you might still not have like a thing like a machine that will like make vinyls. So this is kind of like the next best thing we can get. A lot of people use samples for their vinyl effects. That's good too. I can provide you with a nice sample pack down in the description below. But this is kind of gives you more control over the kind of background vinyl sound you want in your track. So we have a couple of settings right here. Dust level is basically the volume of the vinyl. And then dust color is the pitch, higher pitch, lower pitch. Dust count, how dirty is your vinyl, you know. We got these, the record age here, new all the way to 40s. Basically is the quality of the signal. We got a distortion and a gain knob right here. It's a pretty, you know, basic plugin. Just, you know, play with the knobs until you get the desired sound effect. And you can you know, even go fancier and automate one of those knobs if you want. You know, endless possibilities. All right, so the next plugin is called Field. This is a kind of like a background ambiance plugin that you can play around with. As you can see here I have some rain. You can have some. Wait, let me crank out the volume right here. You have rain. You can have burrito. You have home. Power, school, you know, Shibuya store. Oh, whoops. You can really play, you know, with a combination of these to achieve like a desired mood effect for your track. It even comes with a built-in EQ and gains meter right here. You know, like for example, right? Like if you break up with your girlfriend, you know, like you're like super sad and you're like crying in the rain. And you're like so sad that you're like, you know, like eat a burrito because you're so sad. You just like eat your emotions away. And then you're like, you know what's gonna make me less sad? I could go to Tokyo and go into the street into Shibuya, you know, and go back to school and you know, like earn a ton of money and gain a lot of power. You know, stuff like that. You know, you can play around with these knobs to achieve the desired background effect into your songs. And so yeah, this concludes our tutorial. If you have plugins of your own or you have tips and tricks of your own, please write down in the comment section and share with everybody. We're trying to create this like community that helps each other out here. And hopefully it takes off, you know. Hopefully we can all go to the promised land of gold and fame and happiness together. So yeah, I will leave you with like a super sped up version of how I built this track. Actually, this is the second time I record this video because the first time I totally messed up the audio and I just can't use that. So hopefully it turns out okay this time so I don't have to re-record it. Yeah, so that's about it. Until next time, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Later.